Hey guys, this is Brandon with BackdoorGaming.net. Today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Chroma Squad. Chroma Squad is basically Power Rangers in a tactical RPG format. So what you're looking at right here is you're looking at basically my studio. And the whole game is set up that you're basically creating your own Power Rangers TV show, kind of within context, of course. You're not going to be setting up exactly like what the plot is or what the bad guys are or anything like that, but you do get a lot of other options. Taking a look right here. So let's go ahead and kind of go through a few of these things. First off, you'll see I've named my studio Backdoor Studios, obviously. And then I'm in Season 2, Episode 2. I've only been playing this for maybe about 2 hours. And basically the game is broken up by seasons and by episodes. Down here, it looks like I've got a little bit of fan mail. This is how much money I have, and we'll kind of get into the episode finances in a minute. These are how many fans that I have. And if I hit this record button, I'll actually jump into the next episode. But let's kind of go through what all of these different options are. So first off, we have shopping. This is where you can kind of buy some gear for my characters that I have going on down here. And you can see everything has got this really cool retro 8-bit look to it. But basically what these guys are is these are just really generic items that you can kind of get. We've got cool looking but delicate silk gloves here, the level 2, they're uncommon, and then we have a couple of modifiers like plus 12 to attack, plus 6 to skill regen, and we can kind of see some of the we can see some of the stats for basically our different characters. So I have Rocky, he's my lead. I've got Fury, who is my assault class, so these two guys, he kind of does a lot of morale stuff. He's more my attacker, but I've kind of built him up so he's my go-to as far as attack goes as well. We've got my Scout, she's got extra movement ability. This guy's my Techie, he can kind of do things like different skills and stuff as far as attacks go. So he's more kind of like a mage if you want to think about it that way. And then this is my healer basically, Scar, she's an assist. She just pretty much is there to heal, and I've got a bow equipped to her. This guy right here, and that's what she does. She just kind of sits back, heals, and shoots guys from afar. But anyway, we'll get into a little bit more of the finesse as far as items go once we get into crafting, because that's kind of the meat of where you get your items from. Let's go ahead and get back out of here. Next we have, our crafting. So this is where we get our crafting, basically our recipes. So what you can see here is that we can create elegant gloves, and it looks like I'm actually able to do this right now. These are level 3, they're rare, and they give me plus 15 skill regen and plus 1 to random properties. And I really have no idea what that's going to be. Obviously it's random. But this is going to be where a lot of your cool items come from. I mean, some of them do drop, or you'll get them, for instance, inside of like letters from fans and things like that. But a lot of the brunt of it is going to be in crafting things. So let's go ahead and craft some elegant gloves and kind of see what we get. You'll see it takes a silver tape and it takes polyester. It crafts, and it looks like we get plus 15 skill regen and plus 6% dodge. Honestly, the way that my characters have built up, that's not really going to do a whole lot for me. Let's see, it'll take some health off of her. Take her dodge or her counter down, but her dodge up. That could be useful because it brings her skill regen up as well, but she doesn't really have that many skills to begin with. So I'll keep these for now and then kind of decide what I want to do with them later. But that's kind of crafting in a nutshell. You can come over here and you can get your different materials. I like the crafting system, but to be honest with you, it's pretty lackluster because you're either going to have to recycle a lot of this stuff. Like, let's recycle some of this. You'll see I have a 50% chance of getting one of these, 50% chance of getting Play-Doh, another thing of duct tape, things like that, depending on what you get. But you're only going to be able to get crafting materials from this or whenever they drop off of enemies as you defeat them. And since you can't really go out and farm enemies because you're limited to being able to do one episode at a time, the crafting is really hit or miss, you know. There's a couple of skills that you can kind of get that it's not really getting that you have to pay for them. That kind of helps you get better percentages as far as crafting goes. But then again, it's kind of give or take. I'm gonna hold on to these guys for now. These are the materials that you can get. You can, basically, if I wanted to get some leather, I could craft 3 cotton to get some more leather. Now I can't craft any more of that. But if I wanted to get a wood board for whatever reason, I'd have to, find cardboard box out in the wild or recycle it. Or you can kind of buy some of this stuff, but you can see that this is pretty expensive. $3,000. I've got $2,500. So I'm not going to be able to buy that anytime soon. Next is marketing. Marketing is a pretty cool concept here. What you can do is you can change your agency, and each agency is pretty unique. So for instance, I've got this guy hired right now. What it is he costs $50 per episode, but he gives me a bunch of cool stuff. For instance, this guy I can get plus 10 income conversion rate, plus 100 episode starting audience, plus 10% audience per episode. Basically what all this stuff does is the more audience you get, the more money you're going to be making. So you put in $50, but you get, plus 100 audience members starting off. So I don't know what the income conversion rate is off the top of my head, but basically you'd get, X amount per episode more. So it's a little bit of an investment. This guy, he can give me plus 12% audience per episode, and he gives me plus 20% audience per episode, but he takes away 20 fans per episode, so a lot of it's kind of give or take. Actually, I haven't even looked at these guys yet, the green team. So this looks like it gives me better items. I can get more fans per episode. I can get, a larger audience percentage, but then I get less base fans per episode. So that could be good or bad depending on, how much percentage that actually is going to give me. Unfortunately, I don't have really any way to kind of see what the percentage is versus the base fans, These guys, I'm not going to get into, selecting something right off the bat. I'm just going to kind of stick with what I've got. But anyway, so this is what I have activated. There's fan power, and fan power is how you activate these different things. So if I were to take this guy off, you can see this uses 60 fan power, and I have 590 total fans. So, it behooves me to get as many fans as I possibly can so I can make it, a huge, the best, most efficient usage out of my agency. So right now, for instance, this gives me just flat out $300 per episode extra if I have the 400 fans to use it. So I could do that, or if I didn't really care about building up my fan base or my audience base, really, I could deselect this and go ahead and just click on that to get some extra money. But to be honest with you, this sounds like a better option because I have a better chance of getting more fans in the long run. So anyway, that's what the agency is. This you can, get pretty far in depth in this if you really wanted to. Let's see. Next we have our studio. So studio kind of works the same way as the agency, but it gives you more stat bonuses. For instance, if I activated this, it's $150 up front, and then I have to pay $25 per episode for every time I use it. But all the actors get 10% extra hit points. Here I have this activated. It's $15 an episode, but I get 10% extra audience. Let's see here. This is another $400 up front, but I get, it takes $15, but I get extra 25 crafting rate. Things like that. My Mecca gets 10% hit points. We can kind of get a little bit bigger. This is $100 per episode. Everything just looks better. Unlocks medium level upgrades, which I haven't gotten into that yet. Let's see. This gives me extra discounts on shopping prices, which isn't really a bad idea. And then we have our Mecca. I actually just unlocked this, and basically what this is just crafting again, but for your Mecca. Your Mecca is kind of this cardboard guy. Think of it as a Megazord from Power Rangers. These are the different skills that you get. So you get the Chroma beam. He deals basically between 10,000 and almost 12,000 damage. Plus 2 cooldown all skills. It always hits. Where did my cool tip go? It ends turn into the final strike. Anyway, we get a regular sword strike. Not as good. And these are my stats for my attack, health, and defense. Alright, so let's get back out of there. Actors. So basically what you can do in the very beginning of the game is you can kind of create how your suits look. So I got, you know, the green guy, blue guy, yellow, black, and yellow, or not yellow again, pink, you know, very reminiscent of early Power Rangers minus the Red Ranger, because I thought the Green Ranger was cooler. But then you can get down to hiring different actors, which actually give you more stats to kind of boost the lead, the assault, and things like that. So this guy, for instance, even Tyson, you know, he looks like a boxer like Mike Tyson, but he gets -1 movement, but +1 acrobatic range, and +30% attack. So he's my lead guy. He gets an extra 50% health for being the lead. This guy gets an extra 30% for being my assault class, but he gets +20% attack and +20% team damage, -1 movement. That's kind of why I put this guy, in, you know, the guy in the panda suit or whatever, as my my attack. She gets she's my scout, which means that she can move a lot further, and she gets +20% to counter, and she gets extra dodge, extra or, you know, less chance for enemy to counter. And everybody has a salary though, so she's $30 an episode, he's $30 an episode, he's $20 an episode, so on and so forth. You can kind of, you know, pick and choose however you want to. And then while you start to upgrade, so I'm in season 1 before, and I could only choose between these two. For instance, I could gain +15 skill regen with her, which isn't a bad idea, since she's more skill reliant than the other guys. But I also have just a new skill called Hildukin, and this basically heals an ally up to 4 tiles away for 50% of his health, which I thought was a little bit better than the skill regen. And then we get down to our fan mail. Alrighty, so here we actually kind of get some cool choices. So a lot of the choices that you're actually be making inside of the game are going to be based on what choices you make as far as how you deal with people that send you mail. So, for instance, this guy's saying, "Dear manager of Backdoor Studios, your show has been a bright light during this dark night of government lies and misinformation. You're fighting the good fight, letting people know that there's a real threat out there and they walk among us, controlling mainstream television and pop music. However, I could not help but notice a few missed details and misrepresentations in your fiction. I'm a professional in these matters, and for a small sum, I can consult you and ensure that your next episodes are 100% faithful to real extraterrestrial culture." So basically, at this point, I can decide to hire this guy for $80 and see what he's going to do for me, or I could just decide, you know, aliens aren't real, I don't care about you, you know, do whatever. So if I hire this guy, more than likely he's going to give me something that benefits my show. I haven't so far found anything that doesn't benefit my show. Most of the time, it just nothing happens. So let's go ahead and say yes. And replies immediately received all the time. So basically we get a new item and our money has been decreased. So no big deal. We can't see what the black goo is yet. Let's go to our actors here and see if we can kind of find out what this black goo is. Okay, let's go back. Black goo, where are you, black goo? Oh man, I just have no absolute idea where this is. Anyway, we'll kind of move on from that. I don't really know where to find this black goo. But I'm sure it'll come up eventually. Stats, equip. Anyway, let's go ahead, let's actually kind of come over here and see what we can do with this. So for her, for instance, it might be a good idea to go ahead and equip those. And let's go to our shop and see what we can do as far as making sure that the rest of our guys are all equipped here. Alrighty, so I don't think I necessarily want to equip that yet. So we're going to buy this. This is just a basic stat boost. I mean, there's pretty much absolutely no reason not to buy this and equip it. because everybody benefits from it. Alright, so now we're down to 926. Basically, one stipulation for each season is you can't let your fans go below, for instance, in this season 10. So as long as you're doing things to promote the audience, then you're pretty much, keeping the show alive. You're going to win. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start recording our next episode. So here I get a choice as far as which episode I want to do next. It doesn't really matter as far as which one you do and which order. You're going to be doing all of them over the course of the season anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of, for instance, this one's a part 1 of 2, so this one's going to be longer than these other ones. But ultimately it doesn't matter. It's just kind of which one you want to do. In this case, we have director's instructions: defeat the boss monster with a finishing move and defeat 3 enemies in the same turn. Here we also can see that we get a guest team member on set, and it has a mecha fight. This one, it looks like we already know who the guy is, but we could keep all of your heroes standing, and that's just basically make sure they don't die. Then defeat 4 enemies in the same turn. Let's just go ahead and go with the real evil, because this time I get to show a mecha fight off, and we get a guest. Alright, so this is what you see before every fight, basically. Listen up, everyone. Apparently Dr. Miha wasn't bluffing. He did go to court. How rude. He wrote on Face album that we're also carbon copy of the studio, which is so lame. He doesn't know anything about our show and just wants easy money. So, the story here is basically you guys were stunt actors on this other show, which is admittedly kind of the exact same as the show that you're putting on here. But you didn't like the director, and you guys kept thinking how boring it was, so you just kind of revolted. And then you found this really cool prop, Cerebro, which you'll find probably sometime in this episode. And yeah, you just kind of made your own studio. And I basically told the director to kind of F off, because they came up to me and was like, hey, I'm going to give you a couple of options. You can kind of let me come and be the director. You can pay me royalties every episode, or we can take this to court. So being the rebel I am, I decided that I don't really want to do any of that stuff, so I'll see you in court. And that's kind of how this is playing off. Before every episode, you get something like this where the characters are kind of talking about something that's happening to their life, basically to the show, and then somehow it just really vaguely, loosely ties into the actual show, and there's a fight that starts. So that's basically what's going to happen here. As you kind of progress through the story, though, you kind of get a sense that there's a little bit more going on than just that, though. And I haven't figured it out yet, because I'm only, like I said, a couple of hours into the game. But, we'll kind of take a look and see what happens here. Alright. We get this lobster-looking dude inside of a business suit. J. Milton. So for instance here, I kind of get the idea that the characters... Well, and that's part of the narrative, is that you don't actually know when they're acting and when they're not, which is kind of funny. But I don't, I kind of get the... Let's see here. Yeah, see, the characters kind of seem like they don't really know what's going on. But they do reference, things like the show and stuff like that. So let's see. Who's this guy? So here's our guest star. Awakened Dragon. He's the champion of justice, and he's back, and he's trained harder, better. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of skip over all this dialogue. Alrighty, so we need to defeat the boss monster with a finishing move and defeat 3 enemies in the same turn. Alrighty, so let's see how we can kind of accomplish this. First off though, let's kind of take a gander here. Everything is grid based, as you can kind of see, but it's kind of like almost in a honeycomb shape where the grid was just kind of turned over like a diamond. And what you'll see is I can actually choose basically whoever. Okay, yeah, I can. So I can choose to, whoever I want to move, I can move. There's no, Wind has to move first, and then Fury, and then this guy's name, I tell Amelia. You can kind of set up everything that you want to at the same time. So what we need to do, number one, is we need to kind of find a way that we can kill 3 guys at the same time. So I'm thinking, and it really depends on who can get to who. Let's see. Doesn't look like we can do much with anything. He's pretty much stuck by himself. But we can get these 2 for sure. Okay, so what I'm thinking, so we can get 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to be setting up a double attack. So to set up a double attack, what you have to do is you have to move your guy in one of the blue spaces here and select teamwork afterwards. So what you have is you kind of have like a movement phase, and then you kind of have like an action phase. And you can do an action phase and then a movement phase, or a movement phase and then an action phase if you really want to. But what we're going to do here is we're going to set this guy up for teamwork, and we're just going to come up here and attack him. And you'll see both of those guys, as long as they're adjacent, they'll attack the same guy. And that'll pretty much knock any boss, or not any boss, but any normal character out in one shot. Alrighty. So teamwork. You'll also notice these squares over here. If I wanted to, what I could do is I could take Wind and have her jump off and perform an acrobatic move, which just lets her be able to move further than she normally would. The thing I don't like about that is that why, for instance, why can she jump to these 2 tiles, but she can't jump to like this tile over here, or tiles over here, because they're kind of the same number of tiles away. And that, I don't know if it's based on the way characters are facing or what, because you can't really, like you saw, you can't really end your characters facing a certain way. And you don't get really a bonus for attacking in different, attacking behind or attacking up front or anything like that. And enemies don't have an auto counter attack. So sometimes there's a chance that they can counter, but not all the time. So it's kind of confusing in that way. And I like how the combat system is dumbed down a little bit so that it doesn't take forever to kind of fight through all these battles like it would in something like Ogre Battle 64 or Final Fantasy Tactics. Those are really my only 2 reference points, by the way. So it kind of helps streamline the whole fighting process, but at the same time, some things like the acrobatic are just kind of weird, and they don't really explain them that well. Oh, man. Okay. We didn't get that. So now it's the enemy's turn, and next turn we'll definitely kill all these guys. So see, he countered, he dodged that round. What we're going to do next time is we're going to actually chromatize, and that is basically, morphing. Let's see. You know what? No, we're not, because we can totally kill these guys. Teamwork. Switch you, I'm going to take this guy out. Alright, so the reason why I chose to attack her out by herself is sometimes they'll dodge, and if they dodge like a double attack, then I'm totally screwed. Alright, up here you'll see I got plus 50 on teamwork, and this is your audience bar. So I have the potential to get 3,000 viewers, and that's really what I want to do. And the way that I do that is by doing flashy moves. like teamwork, like acrobatic moves. Basically not doing things like that where I just straight up attack them like that, because that doesn't really net me any audience points. Alrighty, so we're definitely chromatized this time. And then we got 900 audience points for getting the 3 enemies in the same turn. Now all we need to do is defeat the boss monster with a finishing move. So now we're going to morph. What morphing does is it groups everybody together, and it also heals everybody to full. So it's a really cool kind of oh shit button. Like if you're in a situation where you're probably going to die. And then here we've got special moves. Like this is an eagle lasso. And basically if I wanted to, I could kind of move up here and lasso this guy. Bring him towards me, and then I could attack him. Or he could just dodge me. Then we got some other things that right here. This is Find Weakness. Target up to 4 tiles away, and they take 30% more damage per turn. So this is kind of a debuff. I can't actually reach the boss though. And then I can actually shoot them if I really wanted to as well. So here what we're going to do though, that was my movement turn, and here I can move again if I really wanted to, but I can also still attack. So here we're just going to kind of set ourselves up so that we can do a team attack. But before we do that, what we're going to have to do is get him down a little bit. So we're going to knife the guy here. This poor guy, he's got a long way to walk. Sword. So this is basically letting me know that I can pretty much kill him if I really wanted to at this point. So again, I don't remember if you remember me talking about it, but Scar, she's my assist. She can heal everybody. So what if, since I've designated her as kind of my healer, what I can do with her teamwork is if I hit it, it heals everybody that's adjacent to her. Knock everybody away, and this is pretty much going to be it. So all we're going to do here is get everybody set up in position, and to finish, let's see. To finish somebody off, what we need to do is we need to have everyone adjacent to them. So there needs to be 5 guys here. Let's see. Alright, cool, we can do this. Alright, Chroma power, plus we can teamwork. So here we get to see a cool little animation, and you can't bypass him unfortunately. But he should be gone. Yep. And we got all of the director's instructions. Alright, so again I'm just going to kind of click through all this stuff so I don't really give away too much of the story itself. Let's go, let's go. Alright. So here what we're trying to do is just get a really cool combo going on. So now it's his turn. Attack if you can get an attack in, but he can't. I don't have the ability to... Oh, I missed. So now he's going to attack me. So now I have to defend here. Defending is pretty simple. Just click whenever it gets to the middle there. I found these fights to be cool, but they're pretty simple. Ah, I missed. Keep defending, keep defending. Here we go. Man. So I don't know if the miss thing is just pure random number generator or not. That's what I'm gonna guess. Ooh. That one was bad. Oh, he healed himself. That's not good. Alright, hopefully we're gonna finish him off. Yay. So that is Season 2, Episode 2. You see that I got all of my audience plus a bonus 750. It gives you a little breakdown of all the materials that were dropped. This is something new. I've never gotten Glass Shard before. And then here we kind of get our audience converter. And it's really cool because it kind of gives you little tweets about everything that's happened here. I gained 112 extra fans, an extra $1,100. My girlfriend was skeptical about watching this show, but now she's a fan. Heart, destroy the city to save the city. Mecca power, activate, love it. So I think all that's pretty cool. And it automatically saves, so you can't go back unless you kind of save scum. But anyway, in a nutshell, that is pretty much Chroma Squad. It's a really cool tactical RPG game that's kind of based on Power Rangers a little bit. But it's really cool. It's pretty fun. Everything is really short. You can kind of jump in and out of a game or in and out of an episode in about 30 minutes or so. But that's going to do it for us. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. And as always, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. With that said, Backdoor Gaming signing off.